Hey guys, in the fast lane here. In this video, we're going to do a diagnostic on a Kia Amanté 2005. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to plug in our diagnostic tool. You can get them at Walmart for 100 bucks. And you take this blue clip right here, and right up under here, if I can find it, where's it at? Right here. Here we go. You just plug it right in there, just like that, and then we're going to turn the key on. So let's get the key, and we're going to put the key in the ignition. I'm not going to turn it all the way on. We're just going to do a click to the on position. Okay, so we got a misfire on cylinder 3. We got a throttle pedal positioning sensor. So pretty much we have cylinder 3 misfire and throttle positioning sensor. We're gonna do a quick start just for demonstration so you guys can see how bad this thing's running. So that's pretty much all it does, really. Alright, so we pulled it up on a cell phone, and as it looks, it's behind the intake manifold because you have the oil cap here, and it's actually, this is underneath the intake, and there it is right there, cylinder number 3. So we're gonna have to pull off the intake manifold. Alright, so in order to take this intake plenum off, we're gonna have to take out these bolts and nuts. They look like they're 12 millimeter, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And actually, take it back, these two obviously got to come off because they hold the fuel wires in there, but underneath it there's another bolt. So we got 2, 4, 6, 7. So 7 bolts, and then the whole intake manifold will come right out. But before we do that, we got to disconnect this for the intake, pull off vacuum lines, unplug all our clips right here so that we can pull it out. Okay, upon further inspection, the throttle positioning wire was completely unplugged. The clip was broke. We plugged it back in, and it ended up firing right up, but we still have a misfire on cylinder 3, so we're gonna have to pull the intake manifold. So right here, all the clips are like this. You just pretty much are gonna grab the clip right here, slide under, lift up, and when you pull it out, it'll just unlock like that. Then you shove it back down. Make sure you shove it straight, and it'll be able to lock back in without you having to push it in. You just clip it back in. We've taken off all the main bolts on the intake and the nuts. Also over here, we've unplugged all the sensors. Just here, disconnected the brackets. Over here, we took the bracket off for the other sensors that are over here. Unplugged all the vacuum hoses. If you come over here, we have another, looks like power steering line right here, and it goes right here. So we took those two out, had to loosen that up. What else did we do? Right now we're taking off the brake booster right there. Just goes on that one's a little tough. Gotta get some long needle nose pliers. And we took the ground wire off right here. Also on the back, in the very back, you have two 12 millimeter bolts. So that's why you have to take this, obviously this power steering off, but also you have to take it off because you won't be able to get the intake off anyway. So these two 12 right here come off, and then that should be, well, we got one more thing. And if you look back here, you have an EGR valve. If you see this main line right here, this main pipe, looks like well, probably 3/8 half-inch pipe or something like that. It goes all the way to a valve right there. You can see it, and we have to, you can disconnect it right there by that bolt, or you can disconnect it by these two right here in the back. So you got two, one on the bottom and then one on the top, and those are 10 millimeter. Here's a better shot of it. Right here on the back, here's the EGR valve, and you got to get those bolts off. Also, one more thing, I didn't see it. There's a bracket right here, and that's another 12 millimeter. You got to take that off. Looks like one more bolt right there. Okay, we got everything unbolted. Now we're just going to lift up, and we still have a coolant line attached, but we're just going to leave it because we need to get to the back. So we'll just set it like this, and now we can work back here on the other 3 spark plugs. There's what it looks like when everything's out. You got your 3 spark plugs here. This is the EGR valve I was telling you about, and it's just 2 10mm bolts. Then you got 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts on the bracket. So if you're trying to get it off, it's not coming off. This one's the hidden one. We just pulled the spark plug wires and noticed we got some arcing going on right here. So that's indicating that these plug wires are shot and not necessarily spark plugs. We're actually going to change out the spark plugs and the plug wires. Alright, so we got cylinder 1, 3, and 5. Cylinder 1 was igniting. Cylinder 3 wasn't. It's all charcoaled black. And cylinder 5 wasn't igniting either. It was all charcoal black. And from the looks of the spark plug wires, this is the reason why it was arcing outside of the plug on cylinder 3 and 5. So this is probably the cylinder 1 right here, and you can see this one wasn't arcing at all, and the plug showed sign that it was igniting. So that was our problem. We took them out. We're going to take out the coil packs here. We're going to replace all the plug wires and all the spark plugs. Alright, so the spark plug holder, it's got a little rubber grommet. You just shove your spark plug in there, put it down in the hole gently so you don't bend the tip, and then hand tighten it. When you get it hand tightened, just get your 3/8 ratchet and then tighten it until you crush the washer. Not a lot. Usually max is 14 foot-pounds if you're using a torque bar. Quick tip would be just throw some motor oil on the threads, just a little bit, and then thread it in there. Now we're just going to remove the coil packs, and you got some brackets here. Two more right here. And 2 more right here. Alright, so those are all out. Pretty much you just kind of pull up. And we're going to unplug them, and then that's pretty much it. I'm going to take some pliers on the back of them, and then I'm going to push on the clip right here, and it should pop it right out. So that's what you're going to do to the rest of them. Taking all the clips off, just set the coil packs aside. Now we're just going to pull the plugs and replace them. Here's what you want to see on a spark plug. The other ones were pitch black. That means it was running rich because it wasn't igniting at all. And this one's nice and tan, so that lets you know that that plug wire and coil pack is igniting properly. Next step, we're just going to take these Autolite plug wires. If you're looking for a part number, it's 97115. And we're going to size them up with the coils. If you've looked at these wires, they have numbers on them, and it's 135. So cylinder 1, 3, and 5. So 1's over here, 3's in the middle, and 5's on the outside. If you don't know, just size them up. Here's the main harness, and the wires go under it. Now they go to a coil pack, so I'm going to set the coil packs where they were supposed to go originally. Just by length, you can pretty much tell where they go. And you can just size up the wires that way. So we're going to take the wire, we're going to find the shortest one first, which is cylinder 5 right here. So shortest one first. Take that one out, set that in cylinder 5 hole, run it underneath your electrical wiring harness and injectors harness. Pull it forward and just look to see which one's the shortest. So it's right here. It goes on this coil pack, and all you do is just slide it on there. I don't think it didn't come with any grease or anything, so you don't got to worry about it. Just slide it in there and drop that one down the hole. And we're going to do that to the next 2. Just make sure they're the same length, and you're good to go. Now that you've got all your wires running through, you're going to want to take these little protective pieces and kind of slide them in the middle over here, so that it just keeps the wires from getting pinched. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take the original wires, and they got these little guides. We're going to just pop them out of that we're going to hold on to this because we're going to use it on the new wires. There's 2 of them. And they look just like this. We'll set those aside. Pull out the original red wires that we had in here because those are trash. So we got those out of there. Now we're just going to take the nice new wires and we kind of just want to make them fit nicely so when you put the manifold on they don't get stuck. So we'll take this one right here and we're going to just slide this over top. You got 1, 2, 3. And it just spaces them out real nice so you don't have to keep spacing. Then you got another one. It's right here in the corner. Just checking to see if I can see it on the camera. And you just squish it down like that. And then for the last little guy, we just put it back here in the back. So next we're going to take these coil packs and we're going to gently push down on them, kind of wiggle them. Alright, so we got those pretty much lined up with the holes, and we'll put the 10mm bolts in just in a second. Now we're going to come to the back over here. We're going to give it a little wiggle and push until we hear it click. Same thing with cylinder 3 and cylinder 1. Now we just put these 10mm in there, hand tighten them. Just a quick tip, don't forget to put your alternator bracket wire on here. It holds the wire away from the exhaust manifold and the head. It goes over one of the coil packs here and one of the coil packs over here. While we're here, we're going to go ahead and change out all the vacuum line. You just go to your local auto parts store and just ask for vacuum line. We got about 5 feet of it, so we're going to cut off the same length for all of it and then just replace it. So this one right here, for this solenoid, just kind of measure it, take your pair of dikes, give it a snip, and swap it out. We're going to do that for the rest of them. Put a little spit on your finger, wipe it over the nozzle. This will just make it slide a little bit better, and then eventually it'll evaporate with the heat. Just push it down like that, then come over here and do the same thing with this one. You want to get them on there good, because if you get any vacuum lines, it will affect your idle. So we've taken the gasket for the intake manifold off, and you're just going to spray it with some brake cleaner or any kind of cleaner. You got some Honda Bond, and we're just going to put a thin coat. I'll show you how to apply it. You just get a little bit on your finger, not much, and we're just going to give it little taps. Kind of like this until it gets off your finger, and then just kind of lightly coat it around. Alright, so this is one side, and then we're going to light coat the other side that sits on the head. We got the gasket all Honda Bond on both sides. We're just going to set it on there. These are metal gaskets, if I didn't mention it, so they're reusable. You don't have to worry about it breaking or anything like that. We got it on backwards. You got a main stud right there on the back, so it lines it up for you. There we go. And you're just going to kind of slide it down, line it up with the bolt holes, and then you're able to set the intake manifold on it. Now before you put this intake manifold on, a quick tip would be to put this vacuum line on that goes to the EGR valve, because once you get it on there, it's going to be really hard to wrap it around and come up behind it, so I leave it on the intake manifold. Alright, so now we're getting ready to set the intake manifold on, and we're going to line it up with the stud and just set it down straight, and that's good. We're going to take one of the long bolts and we're going to make sure it gets through that gasket. The vacuum line I was telling you about, we're going to try to shove it underneath. So we got it right here, it's just a little bend. And there we go. We're pretty much going to hand tighten the intake manifold. Couldn't find any real torque specs on it. We don't have the service manual. But imagine it's around the ballpark of anywhere from 12 to 14 foot-pounds. I have everything in the back hooked up. I just got to finish bolting in the intake manifold mounts. There's 3 of them, 3 bolts, 3 12mm bolts. Got the EGR valve bolted up. That's probably the hardest thing out of the whole job, the 2 12mm bolts that go in the back of it. I'd suggest before you put the intake manifold on, throw a little bit of Honda Bond on the intake manifold part and then butt the EGR up. I didn't do it, but it does have a metal gasket from the factory still on there, so it should be okay. But just for reassurance, I would throw some Honda Bond or Permatech Gray. Also, I'm just about ready to slap everything together. Just plug in the plugs. We got a couple broken ones. If you do have a broken plug and you don't have the money to buy one, or you can't get to it right yet, just take a little bit of Honda Bond or Permatech and rub it on the outside of the sensor, because they're prone to breaking. They crack, plastic dries out. Throw it on the outside and then just squish the plug on there and let it sit, and it'll hold it on there for when you're driving. It won't rattle off and shut your car down. Here's what I was telling you about the Honda Bond. Just put a little dab on the outside right here where it connects, and then just plug it in and let that sit, and the Honda Bond will lock it in and cut out some of the vibrations so the plug won't fall out. Let's say you come to a plug where the little metal clip is in there like that. All you're gonna do is pull the metal clip out, plug it in, and then take the metal clip, stretch it over where the little groove is, and push straight down all the way, and then that locks it in. Right now we're just going to put the clips in the coil packs. Last but not least, the intake. So we're just going to put it on. Make sure you got your rubber seal, put your filter down. And first we're going to put it on there, and then just turn it straight down like that. Make sure you lock your clamps in on the front and the back. Then we got our mass sensor. If I can find it, here it is right here. We're gonna clip that in just like that. Yeah, watch out for that sensor. And then last but not least, we got one vacuum line that goes right here on the underneath, and then tighten the main bolt and we're done. As it turns out, it was still running a little bit rough and running rich at idle. It seemed like we had a cylinder 3 misfire. It wasn't showing any codes though. So I kept inspecting the engine, kept looking over it, checking all my connections, and everything seemed right. All the coil packs seemed to be firing properly when I was pulling them off. I started pulling off the caps, testing the coils, making sure that they were firing properly. You come over here and you pull the caps off of the coil packs, pull the plug wires, grab the end of the plug right here. We're gonna pull it out. You hear that ticking? If that's ticking, plug it back in. Do the same thing for those. If you don't hear it ticking and you don't hear a change in engine tune, then it could be the coil pack, the output. What it boiled down to was A was going to the solenoid back here, the little electronic control unit, and I had E going to the EGR valve. Well, it says A and E right here on the manifold, or the throttle body. Well, A needs to go to the EGR valve and E needs to go to the solenoid. Here's a better shot for you. Engine's a little hot, so can't really put my arm to balance. But here's A, and you follow it down, and if you can see there's where it runs. And then you come back to this one, which is E, and this one runs all the way in the back here to the solenoid right here. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go ahead, comment, like, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to check out my Facebook page, website, and Android app. All that can be found on my YouTube channel in the About Me section. I'm in the fast lane, and I'll see you guys next time.